Hey guys, Thomas the Solar Genie here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the video game Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil. If you end up enjoying this full review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. Want to head you over to my petition to help smaller YouTubers get their own tab, second and third to my Patreon and PayPal where you can help support me and my channel directly, and the fourth to my Discord server where you can join me and other smaller YouTubers and help collaborate and talk with each other, and shilling will be reminded at the end of the review. With all that being said, let's get into Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil. So, like any other video game review, it's going to be split up between two different sections, story parts section and video game section. So, for this, we start with the video game, or story section. Thus, we once again follow Klonoa, who is once again entering the dream world, this time now accompanied by Lolo and Pupka, a robot doggo thing, to essentially help Lolo become a priestess to help her save the world. In the process, Lunatea appears to be a pirate lord or something of that nature, and seems to be getting your way early on. However, it is revealed significantly much later in the game that she was actually also a priestess who is a little bit on the rushy side of things, and through her own process of attempting to save the world in the current timeline, is actually getting closer and closer to destroying the world. And after she realizes this, they become fast friends with Klonoa near the end of the game, and thus him, as well as allies, must now take on the Prince of Sorrow, enemy slash bad guy whose whole thing is like a basic concept taken to the extreme. The basic concept being sorrow, and then applying that to, well, now the rest of the world must suffer because, you know, this concept is heavily ignored. It's essentially the basics of the gist of it. Through it, we get little snippets into Lolo's backstory about how she too is very similar almost to Lunatea in that she also wants to save the world, sort of to just prove herself that she can do it. So, you know, not the perfect reason to do so, and Klonoa is just on the Star Wars venture of, yeah, I'll do the thing. So not much of a character, much more of a, you know, insert generic hero here sort of ideal. And through the process, you obviously stop both, and you save the dreamscape, and you leave, just like the last time. So pretty basic story. Probably would give it like a 5 out of 10 on that. Maybe a 6 out of 10. I don't know. Somewhere around there. Point being that the story isn't obviously too complex, and the gameplay pretty much follows what I was expecting from the first game, that being you suck up the enemies with your ring, they float around you, you can toss them, you can jump off of them. This time you can double jump off of them, like through like a spark note electricity thing. You do like a few additional things here that you couldn't do in the first game. However, unlike the first game, this game comparatively does have more repeatable stages, or as I called them, redux stages. This is where you take a stage and you slightly tweak it to add something, an element to it, like a robot chasing you through the stage as one of the primary examples of the Let's Play you'll see, or might have seen. And that is about the only difference that there is in the stage. The original game did not have these sort of redux stages, so I'm not really sure why they decided to add them here. I don't feel like they add enough to the overall game, quite frankly. I think they could have just made a few more original stages, if I'm being completely blunt. So I do feel like they got a little bit lazier this time around, at least with the gameplay stages. But overall, it does play pretty much identically the same. there's some frustrating parts about, like, when you're able to grab enemies and when you get hit. The snowboarding part is still easily the weakest in terms of pure control, because it sometimes slides you a little bit more than you want to, and then you slip off. The game did not account for that in the first game, and it definitely didn't account for it in this game much better at all. So yeah, it didn't improve in that regard. So in that case, I would also give the gameplay like a 5 out of 10. Like, it has some of the basics down, obviously, but the redux stages, as well as some of the more wonky controls in the sort of other stages, like the sailing on the board stages, just aren't that particularly good overall stages as well. So quite a few stages are underwhelming, to say the least, which is why I gave it such a low score, or half the score, 5 out of 10. So through my overall experience through the Klonoa series, yeah, I'm not sure why this was as hyped up as it was, if I'm being a little bit brutal here. I do feel like out of all of the original sort of mascots, I do feel like this one definitely was a little bit overhyped when it was being sort of announced. But I do get it, the whole Bandai Namco thing, and I felt that way personally for Digimon, so I did get it from that point of view, of like, you're kind of like, come on guys, you gotta give us something, right? And I did kind of jest about it a little bit toward the end, but I was a little curious if they were ever going to make a Klonoa 3, like a current day Klonoa game, and how that would turn out. I can definitely see them adding a few more abilities here, or like revamping, the way it would play. Probably keep it ideal to keep it like a side-scrolling sort of adventure with a little bit easier to tell, like 3D like esque environments would probably be the way to go about it. And yeah, I did kind of say I did kind of ask about, like, where is Klonoa even from? Like, what is his deal? Because the whole thing is that he's like a dream traveler throughout both games, so it is a continuous curiosity about, like, where does Klonoa even come from? It'd be interesting if a third game were to ever come out to start to explore him as an actual character, as an actual entity. He does sort of have his own unique language, since he does have dialogue, technically speaking. I guess that would be something that they could keep even consistent throughout the things, if they wanted to keep the character consistent. But it would be pretty fun to see if they could bring Klonoa 3, into existence, and really see them elevates the character to a whole new level. I think that I'm pretty sure those of you who are already Klonoa fans, the ones who were even more hyped than I was, I probably would, ask the same if there's going to be a Klonoa 3 after this whole re-release thing was pretty much a success, I think. At least from what I've seen so far from the initial thing of the resale. Anyway, but I would say I'm still a little bit on the fence about Klonoa myself. Again, I'm not sure why it was overhyped that much. And who knows, if there ever is a Klonoa 3 announced, maybe they can change the series around, maybe make me really invested in this character, as other mascots have already done so in the past. But that's a whole bunch of maybes that I don't ever know if Bandai Namco's ever going to answer, because they still haven't given us a Pokemon versus Digimon. I'm gonna keep making that joke, because I've been asking for that ever before Smash even came out, Ultimate. That's even way before then. On my YouTube channel, I've been, saying Pokemon versus Digimon. That's a free money idea for Bandai Namco. They released a Pokemon game. They released pretty much every Digimon game. It's free money. I don't know why they haven't done it yet. And yeah, I know some people have argued like Digimon are just generically stronger than Pokemon, and there's like fighting shenanigans you can always do to fix that. Quite frankly, I don't think that's a great enough excuse not to do one of the biggest arguments of all time and turning it into a very profitable video game. Again, I don't think that's a great enough excuse not to do it. There's plenty of characters on both sides to choose from. There are plenty of strong Pokemon, I'm sure. And you could just choose some of the lower forms of Digimon to like represent the majority of the cast of what makes up the, to, say it's all even or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot you could potentially do with that sort of game, but, anyways, that's a whole side tangent in the making. Anyways, that's where I'll call it for this review, and if you ended up enjoying this full review, then please feel free, again, to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. Want to head over to my petition. Second and third will head you to my Patreon and PayPal, where you can help support me in the channel. And fourth, to my Discord server. Any and all donations are greatly appreciated. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.